Hello everyone and welcome to the second lesson of this Introduction to Sentences series. As indicated on the title, the focus today is on the verb to be. And it seems only logical for you to ask why verbs at this early stage. Isn't it out of context? Well, it's not. The reason why, since we are trying to get the nominal sentence down pat, we need to focus on its most elemental form, which is nothing but a simple noun-adjective sentence. And this cannot be done without understanding the mechanics of the verb to be in the Arabic language. How come? Let's get straight to the subject. We will be able to walk it through by the end of this lesson. A quick disclaimer here for English speakers, this lesson is all about the verb to be when it is acting as a linking verb in the present simple positive form. This particular detail cannot be overstated since the rules we are about to learn will cease to be valid in other contexts. Right, with that in mind, let's consider these examples. As usual, we will start with English sentences and then see how things are done in Arabic. For the sake of clarity, I will break down the first example and the rest will be a deduction game. So, the boy is small. The boy here is obviously the subject, and the verb to be is acting as a linking verb since it is telling us what the subject is, not what the subject is doing. And it links the subject to what? To the subject complement, which is the adjective small. Also, kindly note that the sentence is in the present tense and that it has a positive form. So one can deduce from this that a linking verb tells us what the subject is, not what the subject is doing, and that it links the subject to the subject complement. Furthermore, it might go without saying for the majority of you that the verb to be is the most common linking verb in the English language. Right. Given that we have drawn the limits of this lesson context and that we all know what do we mean by the verb to be acting as a linking verb, let's now cross the border and see how things are done in Arabic. To make things easier, we will translate the same examples used earlier, and while doing that we will use a color code. Nouns will be written in green, adjectives in blue, and the verb to be, if any, will be written in black. And here we go. What's going on? There is no black colored words. Did the verb to be disappear? Yes, it did. And we are about to explain why. First thing first, let's read our examples and determine to which type of Arabic sentences these belong to. الولد صغير. السماء صافية. الماء عذب. الطقس حار. Again. الولد صغير. السماء صافية. الماء عذب. الطقس حار. As previously noted, there are two types of sentences in the Arabic language, the nominal sentence which begins with a noun and the verbal sentence which begins with a verb. And even if you've missed our noun identification lesson, which I will link up, you can confidently say that all of these are nominal sentences. Based on what? On the color code. Remember, nouns are written in green. Since all of these sentences begin with a noun, they are nominal sentences. And again, please let me get the record straight. These are classified as nominal sentences based only on the first word rule. If the first word is a noun, then it is a nominal sentence. It has nothing to do with the omission of the verb to be. Speaking of, where did the verb to be go? Well, in the English language and more precisely in a formal context, there is no room for verbless sentences, and nouns are linked to adjectives using the verb to be. The boy is small, the weather is hot. However, The Arabic language structure allows under certain conditions nominal sentences to form without needing any verb at all, and the verb to be is no exception. And these conditions are nothing but the ones highlighted earlier: verb to be acting as a linking verb, present simple tense, and positive form. So again, under the just mentioned conditions, the verb to be will be omitted, allowing the most basic form of nominal sentences in Arabic to see the light, which is nothing but a noun-adjective sentence. And this particular form of nominal sentences is identified when the noun and the adjective describing it fail to agree in terms of definiteness. It's crucial. Please also keep in mind that this disagreement is not decided arbitrarily. In fact, the noun has to be definite and the adjective indefinite. There is no way around it. So by and large, when it comes to noun-adjective sentences in Arabic, discard your English speaker's reference point, which is the verb to be, and keep your eyes only on the disagreement in terms of definiteness between the noun and the adjective. If the noun is definite and the adjective indefinite, and the alliance provides an intelligible message, then it is a complete sentence. Look no further. Accordingly, our new rule is, as opposed to the English language, which uses its be verb in the present simple positive form, the Arabic language does not. Now, how do we call the verb to be in Arabic? We do call it كان. Again, كان. And when it comes to the infinitive form, we will have a full lesson about it further down the line, and it is going to be a peculiar one, so make sure you don't miss it. Back to the matter at hand. So based on our English-Arabic comparison, we have learned that in modern standard Arabic, verbless sentences are allowed. Of course, I'm referring to a formal context. So again, in modern standard Arabic, verbless sentences are allowed and they represent the most basic form of nominal sentences. Now, on a side note, before ending the lesson with learning a couple of technical terms, I need you to know that we will have to set ourselves free from these reference points and comparisons between English and Arabic as soon as possible, and start to learn how to think like a native. The reason why, as a matter of fact, when dealing with today's examples, for example, السماء صافية, no native on earth will think about the verb to be to begin with, much less the present tense, because they are accustomed to verbless sentences and to linking nouns to adjectives without a middleman, or let's say a go-between. So please keep in mind that we are temporarily doing this because you still need a touchstone, or let's say a landmark, to help you find your way and not get lost. Right, if you didn't lose the thread, we still have to learn a couple of technical terms. These are crucial, please, as they will set the stage for what's coming, so make sure to memorize them. Okay, since we now all agree that all of these are full sentences, let's learn the name of their components, shall we? To keep things simple, let's focus on this example out of the batch. السماء صافية. Nominal sentences in Arabic have two parts, a subject and a predicate. The subject is what the sentence is talking about, and the predicate is a word or word group that follows the subject to identify it or describe it, i.e., it provides information about the subject. Now, if we look back at our example, we can easily tell that السماء is our subject and صافية is our predicate, simply because the adjective صافية is providing a description of السماء. Couldn't be easier, isn't it? Now, terminology-wise, we do call the subject المبتدأ. One more time, المبتدأ. And المبتدأ is derived from the verb ابتدأ, which means to start, and it literally means what we begin with or what comes first, referring to the position of the subject within the sentence. The reason why the subject will oftentimes come before the predicate, aside from a couple of exceptions, which is neither the time nor the place to touch upon. Moving on, if you didn't lose your train of thought, we still have the predicate. We do call it in Arabic al-khabar. One more time, al-khabar, which literally means a piece of news. So you can think of al-khabar as a reporter delivering news about the subject. So again, nominal sentences in Arabic have two parts, a subject and a predicate. The subject is what the sentence is talking about, and we do call it in Arabic al-mubtada. And the predicate is a word or word group that follows the subject to identify it or describe it. We do call it in Arabic al-khabar. That's it, everyone. That brings us to the end of today's lesson. I know that at this stage you are probably asking yourselves questions like, how can we form a nominal sentence? Does the choice of the subject and the predicate abide by certain rules? Or which case ending should each component have? And I'm glad to inform you that the answer to all of these questions, as well as more details, will be discussed in the final lesson of this series, which will be titled Overview of the Nominal Sentence. So make sure to stand by. شكرا على حسن استماعكم ومع السلامة.